Hey, welcome to our continued study of Luke chapter 11. We're in the middle of that chapter where Jesus begins to turn up the heat on the Pharisees. The Pharisees by nature are a separated group. They have divided themselves from others by a series of regulations that they keep all of the time. And so it seems that Luke builds this theme of separation or division into the final half of this chapter of 11. It's amazing to watch it unfold as in the initial encounter of Jesus, he meets a man who is mute or unable to speak. And he casts out the demon that has caused that inability to speak. And the Pharisees speak to him and say, "We believe that you have done this by the power of this Beelzebub or by the prince of demons." Jesus makes a strong statement that then characterizes the rest of this chapter and speaks to our hearts as well. He says, any kingdom divided against itself will fall. And so it makes me make personal application that I'd like to guide you through a little bit today and ask you, if you're divided against yourself, playing offense and defense against yourself. Pogo said, we are our own worst enemy, and we know that to be true. There are certain things, just like the mute, that we simply do not want to talk about, that we maybe have gotten to the point where we're no longer able to talk about. E. Stanley Jones said, if we don't talk about them, or if we cannot talk about them, still they get somehow deep into our subconscious and are very much a part of our lives. And those very things that we don't want to talk about, our memories, the incidents that occurred, things that we did or things that were done to us, become divisions in our lives. And we literally grow up to be a divided people. And Jesus says, a kingdom that is divided will ultimately fall. And so the call in this passage is to believe that Jesus is big enough that we can bring to Him all the stuff of our lives. Sometimes that's very difficult to believe. It was difficult for the Pharisees to believe. Jesus gave 3 illustrations of the magicians in Egypt that believed it, of the Ninevites when Jonah preached that believed it, and of the Queen of Sheba in 1 Kings chapter 10 that believed it, continuing to say to the Pharisees, it's so important to believe that Jesus is great enough to take on all the difficulties and struggles and memories, the past of our lives, and make us fully whole. About that time, a lady stood up in the crowd and said, "Blessed is the woman who gave birth to you and nursed you at her breast." And Jesus responded, "Blessed are those who hear the word of the Lord and keep it and watch it." To end all of this section, Jesus said, it's really not a problem of light and darkness. He says the lamp of the body is the eye. And it's so important that we're able to see Jesus in all of His glory and understand that He is able to make us whole. That He is literally to take away the division of memories and sin and provide forgiveness and restoration and healing that we might be wholly His. Thank you today for joining us again for a brief synopsis of the middle of Luke chapter 11. May God make you whole, and thank you for joining us again for Just the Meat and Potatoes.